Welcome to OnSolos. Today, I'm joined by Julian Schaaf, and Julian is a CMO and solopreneur, and he's a fractional CMO and advises industrial companies, industrial manufacturers, and he's the head of industrial growth, and you can find him at industrialgrowth.co. Julian, welcome.
Joe, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, this is a nice surprise because we were just talking earlier, chatting beforehand, and you and I have never met. This is the first time we've met today, just literally like
First
10
time
minutes
ever.
ago, which is wild. And
It's
when
like a
I,
blind date.
yeah, it is. It's not a bad one so far. It's going okay. Hopefully I don't blow it here. But it's a blind date, and it's a blind date, a long distance relationship too, because you're not around the corner here. Many people might know me. I'm here in the States in Delaware, and you sound like you're right around the corner, but you're not. Where you
Yeah, I'm
from?
actually I'm actually from Southwest Germany in Stuttgart, if anyone is familiar. So I used to live in the States, and 2 years back I moved my family back home because I'm from here. And yeah,
So when
that's
you're
where I'm
from there,
from.
you mean you're like German, like you can
I
speckums,
am
speckums,
I'm
speckums.
German to the bone.
Can
I
you
was
do it?
born here. I lived here for 25 years out of my 30 some odd years. And 5 of those years I lived in St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah, that's where the American accent comes from, living there. And my wife's American.
Yeah, you got to say that again, just in German, just so people believe it. I
Yeah,
can't believe it.
we can
I
do another
actually still
episode
don't
in German
believe you're
if you want.
German. I think you are just pulling my leg. This is a prank. You
No,
just came in on the
let's
podcast. You're around
let's
the corner. There's no way. You just sound totally American in every way. I joked you beforehand about that too, which is pretty awesome, man. So
Yeah, next
congrats on getting
episode
the
is in
accent
German,
down.
Joe.
Yeah, good luck with me doing that. That will not go far. I think I could say ein. That's about it. And
Yeah, it's a start.
I can't get beyond that. How long you been going solo? How long you been doing this? And
Not very long, to be honest. This is month two. I got let go at the end of June, and I had a little bit of time. I had a 3 month heads up. So I guess in spring this year, hey, we're going to let pretty much everyone go. And so I
yeah.
started chipping away at the solo thing. But my first full time solo day was July 3rd. So
All right.
yeah,
Well,
this is month
congrats.
two.
Welcome to the life.
Thank you.
You know what you're in
It's a
for yet?
crazy life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm
Already
slowly
crazy.
realizing what I'm in for.
Okay, good. So that will be an interesting topic of conversation because a lot of people go solo after they leave a job for whatever reason. That's what happens. That's how I started my solo. I got burnt out at my work, and I just said, you know what? Let me start this. Let me give it a go. On our site it says unboss yourself, like as if that was the only problem. And usually you say it is, but then you have clients and they're your bosses, and you have a lot of bosses. But there is a level of flexibility you get with the solo lifestyle. There's a bunch of challenges too
Yeah.
in your first go at it here. What are your first impressions? Because this will be helpful. A lot of people who listen are people considering going solo. They might have side hustles. They might be in a similar
Mm-hmm.
situation. So it's always good to get that first impression of what
Mm.
that transition is and what's it like right up front.
Oh man, there's so much. The first impression, let me just shoot from the hip. First impression is it's a ton of work, but at the same time, I was working hard before. I was always working in startups or small agencies. So I was working hard before. So I was like, might as well do it for myself and try to build my own thing. One thing that also first impression, it's not as hard as I thought it would be in terms of money and potentially losing money. I was really scared of that. I have 3 kids, and I went cold turkey. I didn't transition at all. I just quit, and I went 100% solo, and I didn't have any clients lined up when I made the decision. And everyone was like, "You're crazy," except my wife. She was really supportive, but everyone was like, "You're crazy." I was freaking out beforehand, and then yeah, I very quickly found clients, and I still have money worries, and I still worry about landing clients. It's like my number one concern, I think, aside from delivering value for my clients. But yeah, I'm good until the end of September now, and it's mid-August as we're recording. So that's a good feeling. I have proven to myself that I am capable of finding clients and people are willing to pay for my expertise. So
That
I
is
guess if
awesome.
anyone's listening, considering it's not as scary as it looks from the outside, you can always, like, if it really didn't work out, I could also always go back still.
Yeah, that's one of the things with solos. And I remember having a solo prospect who things weren't working out. And it was during a sales call for a website. And he had all these big plans and dreams and everything. And when he was trying to get the money to do a project, I had a sales coach at the time, and he was really good. He really trained me on a lot of things. And one of the things he asked me to say was to say, ask your client or your prospect if he ever considered getting a job. I said, oh, I don't want to say that, because no, that might be helping him. It might break the ice with that prospect. Because in
Mm.
other words, if things aren't going well, you might say it might be good to get a job to supplement that solo lifestyle. If you're not doing what you want to do, if it didn't turn out that way, and it doesn't always. And I've considered that too through the, I think, 18 years I've been having a business, not always solo, probably a lot of those years solo.
Yeah.
And now it went up from solo to having people, and now it's going back to solo. And that's a typical journey that people have. Now, in your plans, as I talk about stepping up and hiring, are you committed to the solo life, and or are you not sure? Or are you thinking you might hire people? Where are you at right now? Because I know it's real early
Mm.
on. And
Yeah. No, it's something I'm thinking about a lot because the volume of requests has been more than I expected. So I wasn't expecting to think about this early, but yeah, I don't really know. I was planning to stay solo. What I'd like to do is get really good at very few things and charge a premium for that. And yeah, that's my goal. I don't want to take on more and more clients and then manage the clients and then also manage my own team. It's not really why I did this going into it. So I'm trying to specialize and take more clients that require less work per client and pay me more per hour, if that
right,
makes sense.
it does. You're
That's kind
you're a
of my
fractional
plan.
CMO. So when I
Yeah.
hear that, it's not like you're saying I just don't want to work as much and charge more. When I hear
Yeah.
that, I hear, at least in my world, in my solo world, typically what that means is I want to focus on what I'm best at. I'm a knowledge expert, I'm a strategy expert,
Yeah.
whatever that might be. You have a craft that you excel at, and
Yeah.
you want to provide that, not the other stuff you might not excel. Did I hear that correctly, or is there's
Yeah,
probably something else?
absolutely. Yeah, I want to find the sweet spot, the overlap between what I'm really good at and what delivers a lot of value and what I enjoy doing. That's my long-term plan. And then my clients get a lot of value out of me. I can easily find more clients, and I also enjoy that. That's really my plan. Yeah, instead of and then try to hand off other things that I'm not the best at, but my clients need to other people and build more of a network approach where I can say, yes, I will do these things, and I have my partners to do the other things way better than me. And yeah, that way I can hopefully grow in the right way.
Yeah,
So
well,
no team members yet. Maybe a VA or something like that at some point, but not quite there.
that helps, and I think that still qualifies as solo if you get a virtual assistant or a VA or anything like that, or if you actually work with partners. That a lot of times solos work with solos really well
Yeah.
for those other needs. Maybe you find a solo bookkeeper, maybe you find a solo if you're doing marketing, you have websites, or someone who does SEO, those types of things. You
Yeah.
offload that on other groups. Often it is solos, and that's why it's good to have a community of solos, because it's like, hey, say that someone like me is, I'm doing a website for an industrial client in Germany. And that's happened. I actually have done a couple of those, believe it or not. Oh, who can I partner with? Like, they came to me for a website.
Hmm.
However, what they're asking for is business growth, and they're expecting the website to do that.
Yeah.
Let me call Julian. I know he does great work. I've
Yeah.
heard he does great work. We've talked. Here are his clients. They're happy. And you bring the need of the client into the mix. And there's always enough work to go around, especially when you're dealing with people who are really good at what they do. And I think
Hmm.
you voiced that concern in an earlier conversation about, oh, geez, I'm trying to provide some of these services. It's not up to my standard. So I'm not really providing that. Tell me a little bit more about how that works in your world as you do the marketing and the CMO work, and trying to find the right
Yeah.
quality to introduce your clients.
I was actually the way I discovered that problem first was being an in-house marketer. So first I was working in an agency for 3 years, and then I was head of marketing or head of content in two other places. And almost always you reach a point where you need something that you don't have the resources for in-house. And when you go look for someone, there are always the two challenges of money. What can you pay per hour or for this project? And quality. And usually what people will tell you is that if you want quality, you got to pay a premium. And I used to believe that too, but it's actually not always true in this day and age. So Yeah, I guess the problem is still there of finding people that do quality work, and it's an ongoing problem. I think the way to solve it, the way I solve it now has changed a little bit as opposed to how I used to, if
Well,
that
as an
makes sense.
expert, yeah, it does make sense. I think there's probably two angles on that, which could be you could get good quality working with an expert like yourself, guiding
Yeah,
the project with maybe something that's not a premium tier solution. Maybe some of the premium tier solutions are too much for what your clients need right now. And
yeah,
it might be the other part of it is you wind up paying a premium for work that's not premium quality. That's what I see off it is
yeah.
not
Oh
finding
man,
that. So,
I've seen that a lot,
so then,
unfortunately. Like you paid
yeah.
them what for that? That's
So yeah,
crazy.
and often if you're a marketer, you might be dealing with agency world, you might be dealing with software, you might be dealing with a lot of these different situations. And as organizations grow, the ones you're relying on, you might meet with the CEO of the partner group that you're doing business with, and you might then meet with their manager, but then you might just get their new person who's just fresh, new, and that's who's working on your account often. That's one of the challenges. And I think that's one of the benefits of working with other solos is
Yeah,
they're
I
not going
know.
to be like, here's a new person. No, they're dealing
Yeah.
with you, who's the
It's one
expert.
of the main selling points for my clients, I think, that I'm the person that's selling this and also who's going to be doing the work. I don't hand off these projects to junior people just to get a better margin, but yeah, it's just not what I do.
So is that one of the things you saw along your career as a non-solo here and there? You don't have to mention names or anything, but like just in the mix, not saying people you worked for, but just in the
Mm,
environment. Did you come across that at all where the solution selling could have been way more than the client needed or maybe just the wrong thing?
yeah, many times, especially in the agency, in my agency times, a lot of times clients would come to us and you would see what other agencies or other people had sold to them. And yeah, sometimes it's overpriced. Sometimes it's just if all you got is a hammer, all these nails.
That's
And
right.
that's
That's
a lot of times that's how marketing service providers think, in my opinion. They're an SEO agency, so they just go out and they go and sell SEO services and they don't always do the discovery and the groundwork to figure out is that actually what the client needs. They just say you need SEO, and the client has just heard it often enough to think, yeah, I need SEO, and it actually turns out it's not really the best investment for their money right now.
That sounds like a problem you solve as a fractional CMO, basically. Do you do that for your clients? Do you actually help them figure out what the problem is and then source it rather than allow the client to get a term like, oh, I need SEO. I heard from my
Yeah.
brother-in-law that SEO works. Do
Yeah.
some SEO for me. And SEO might work for the brother-in-law, but they have a completely different context. Do you come in and help them evaluate and then source out those things? Tell me a little bit more about what you do for your clients.
Yeah. Basically, I do what you just mentioned too. When a client comes to me, what they want is growth. And they sometimes they have an idea that they need a specific tactic to accomplish that growth. And I will go in and talk to them about their business, learn as much as I can in the span of a month about their business, their customers, their product, what they're trying to sell, why people buy it, how it's different from their competitors. Look at the market and see, what are competitors doing, all this stuff, and then try to tell them, all right, based on what I know, these are actually things you should do, and maybe they're very different from what you thought you needed. And I think that usually already provides some value because founders, especially in the startup world, they hear so much about all these different tactics. And especially in marketing, there's so many things you hear about all these people having success with this and now with this, and now there's AI coming out. So I feel like sometimes they get a little lost in the tactics and forget to look back at what are we trying to accomplish and where should we really focus our resources, and that's what I help them do. And then depending on what they need, I also help them execute it or bring in people to help do part of it.
Yeah. So what you're saying there too, it sounds like it's the bright shiny object syndrome too that happens in
Yeah,
marketing, especially with marketing and technology and startups. It's there's a lot of focus on what's new, and sometimes that happens because there's always the chasing of what's new, and sometimes what's new doesn't always work. So it's here's
mm,
a new like piece of jargon, or here's a new thing that works,
Yeah.
And maybe because the old thing never did. What types of things are you helping out your clients with specifically? What are you seeing where it's some of the old stuff that works that is like just done better? Do people give up on things too much quickly? What are you
Yeah.
seeing in the market right now with your clients? Where are they focused and where do you maybe reel it in and just change the conversation a bit for their success?
Yeah. I think the our clients or my clients usually think about SEO and paid ads. That's usually what they think about. I work on basics exclusively. I do basics all day. So with basics, having very good messaging on the website and explaining to people in all the right ways why their product is the right product and why they should buy it, handling objections proactively. So when somebody comes to the website, checking out the product, they have everything they need to learn about it, understand about it, and we are also selling it. We're selling the value of the product. And a lot of times people forget about that. But your website is like a salesperson at scale. And especially if you're wanting to run ads, do SEO, anything really you're doing, people are going to come to your website and check out like, what is this company? What do they do? What problems might they solve for me? And most companies don't do a very good job of doing that. You go to their website, you're like, what do they do? And maybe you might figure it out, but then you don't understand how it works. You don't understand pricing. And then you say, all right, fuck this, I'll go somewhere else. There's 1,000 other people that do it. So that's where I start. It's the most important thing. And from there, I usually help them run ads or I help with SEO. So LinkedIn ads, Google ads, SEO. Those are really the three channels that I work on. And usually with a focus on paid ads, because a lot of people want to grow faster and SEO is not always the right fit for the type of clients they're trying to go after, which is, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to
So
go down a rabbit hole, but that's what I work on.
that's not it might be a rabbit hole, but that's definitely an important point because I
Mm-hmm.
think the buyers of this services are typically down their own rabbit holes and getting really deep into the merits of the technical solutions without actually thinking of the order of operations, not thinking of what the buyer is doing. They're thinking solution first, but not actually considering that the buyer is going to the website. So it's just throw
Yeah.
more traffic at this website because more traffic just means more results. It's in our funnel. The more views,
Yeah.
the more conversions we get. Therefore,
Yeah.
the more all the other good stuff happens. But
I think if people just took a moment to pause when they're buying stuff, I think they would rethink a lot of marketing approaches. Like when you're scrolling your LinkedIn feed or your Instagram feed, just pause for a moment and think about what you're doing right now and why are you clicking on that ad? And after you click on it, what are you doing? Because once you do, you realize you start understanding how you act. For example, I get an Instagram ad on my phone for, God, what's this product I keep seeing? It's this productivity tool that is in literally everyone's feed right now. I forgot what it's called. I just look at how I'm interacting with their ads. I get a different, first of all, I get a different ad from them every single day, every single week that takes a different angle of explaining how their product works. And they slowly chip away at my objection that this thing isn't going to work for me with every single ad. Every new angle, they chip away. They give me a new perspective on how I might use this, how other people are using it. And at some point, I'm going to go to their website. I'm going to go into use cases and something like agencies or solopreneurs. I want to know how this works for me. I scroll through the features and I make a quick decision if this is for me or not. And that if you reverse engineer, obviously it's anecdotal evidence, but I think if you try to reverse engineer, what was I looking for? Why did I behave the way I did? And then I think it would become more clear what you need to do in your marketing if you try to do that.
you sound like the type of guy who is like your mind's always on. It sounds like from just
Unfortunately,
hearing that.
yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, that then I know
Yeah.
you're that type of guy because that's what you would say. Unfortunately, I'm plagued by this, but
Yeah.
and that's interesting. You have industrial clients. When you say industrial clients, are they like the same type of person as well? Are these industrial engineers? Are these industrial manufacturers? When you say industrial, who are your clients like specifically? Or
So they sell to the manufacturing space is probably the better term. So they have products that are getting used in the manufacturing space, and they sell to, I don't know, engineers, operations folks who are working a factory, to maintenance people. So it could be anything from machinery which is one client that I'm working with. That's, yeah, a machinery company. And another one is a B2B SaaS tool that's all about machine data and finding productivity gains in machine data. Yeah, my clients sell to the manufacturing sector, and they're high growth industrial companies. So either startups or smaller companies who are looking to grow quickly.
And are you in that world because you're in Germany? Like Germany has a ton of manufacturing companies and usually high-end manufacturing.
Yeah, you might think so, but it's completely by accident. When I moved to the States, I first of all, I wasn't even allowed to work. I was just finishing up my master's. I was unemployed for 6 months before I found a job, and I found this company. It's called Gorilla 76. They happen to be an industrial marketing agency, and all they do is work with mid-size manufacturers, so a little bit bigger than what I work with. And I read through their website and I got to know their culture, and I was like, this is exactly what I want in my first job. It was like great culture, great people, great training, like boot camp for B2B marketing. And they rejected me at first, and I was so bummed. And then, like, by a lot of different chances, like one person quit, and I think another person didn't accept a job. They hired me. I was like second choice there, and then I ended up leading their strategy department 3 years later, and I loved it. And I only worked with manufacturers. It was never my intention. I just liked their approach and their culture, and it just happened. They just happened to work with manufacturers, but I liked that these were like no name companies. Nobody knew them, but they're like the stuff that makes our world work. Everything from conveyor belts to labels and stuff like that. And I don't want to work for Coke and stuff like that. It's not really my thing.
So
And
you're
then I
good at
went to,
marketing for the non-glamorous, basically, it
yeah,
sounds, which is
basically.
amazing. How is that different than like working for like these brands who they're just pushing like the image and what other stuff? Like, how does that marketing differ? Because a lot of times, non-glamorous products that are like literally driving our daily lives without us knowing it, sometimes when they think they need to market, they think, I want to market like a Coca-Cola. You find
Yeah.
that sometimes to be like all marketing's marketing. We need to focus on our image when it might be some of these other tactics that are going to really put those good products in the hands of more of their customers.
I would say the biggest difference to like a Coke or a consumer product is that these are my clients sell complex products that cost like 20K per year and up, all the way to 100K, 200K. So that's probably the biggest difference. It's not an impulse purchase. This stuff has to be budgeted for. It's very long buying cycles. It might take 6 months from the first intro to actually signing a deal with these people. And I think that's the biggest difference. And in terms of industrial or not industrial, I don't actually know that I think it's very similar in terms of B2B marketing of complex, expensive products. So whether it's an industrial product or software, I don't know, Salesforce, that could also cost 100K, is a little more complex and long sales cycles. So I think in that realm, it's similar, but in compared to consumer products, like you're not selling like an impulse purchase, or I don't know, more of a brand like Coke. A very different approach, I would say.
Like Coca-Cola, you don't need a website. It's sugar water and you can get addicted to it. No, basically.
Yeah,
No,
you don't need
it's
to
like,
explain like how it
yeah, right.
works. You don't
It
need like
comes
an
in a red
interactive
can.
demo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's just
You can
sugar
get the one in the
water.
blue can. It's called Pepsi.
Yeah, how it works,
Right.
how we're different from Pepsi and all the
Right.
other brands. Yeah, they don't
So
do that.
you're not kidding when you say that website is the salesperson. It might be one of the most important salesperson people because it's the introduction in many cases, or it's the follow up after the salesperson on your team or their client's team has a call. Often they just, oh, let me go back to the website. Let me
Yeah,
navigate again, or it could be a multi bid situation too. They're looking
yeah,
at multiple companies. That website's going to play a part in the sale, which is
for
much
sure.
different than a consumer product like Coca-Cola.
For sure. One of my clients they say the IT always kills their deals. So we created a page just around implementation and more information for IT, for example. So yeah, it goes beyond just the intro. And I want the website to do more of that. I want the website to, yes, lead to an intro, but then also help close deals and solve those problems along the funnel, if that makes sense.
You and I are on a blind date today, as you said. So like sometimes you can have a blind date who like actually can't
Long
choose.
distance.
Yeah, who can't choose between Coke and Pepsi. They might need a website. The blue can, the red can, the blue can, the red can. I need help. No, just kidding. But yeah, definitely having a similar background and working on those types of projects, I could not agree more. And it's not always
Mhm.
apparent to the clients at the end of the day because it's not their every day. It's not their world. They're busy making the product. They're busy doing their thing.
Yeah.
And it sounds like in your world, a lot of your clients can't find someone with your expertise. So you are a fractional CMO. Can you explain that a bit to me?
What part? My
Well, the
clients not being
fractional
able to.
concept, why that's important. Like what a
Yeah.
fractional expert, like what is a fractional CMO and why is that important for
Yeah.
your clients and how does it have impact?
So a fractional CMO is basically someone that you hire for, in my case, 2 half days or 4 half days per week. So it feels like I am working with your team and I'm on your team. It's less like an agency or supplier relationship where I send you a report every month and I scope out the project and that's exactly what I do. It feels more like I'm an in-house person and we tackle whatever the biggest priorities are together. And I have my expertise and your team has their expertise and we split up the work, but it feels like I'm your marketing leader on your team and I'm not just a supplier that you have to manage. Like I hold the team and the company responsible for growth through marketing. Like I own that for you so you don't have to as a founder, if that makes sense.
So if it doesn't go well, is it you on the line? Is that what happens?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
yeah, for
good.
sure.
That's good as a buyer. If I'm
Yeah.
buying that and I know that growth is at stake, and if we're not growing at the pace you promised, that's a good promise. I would come in and say,
Yeah.
yeah, what do you want to get paid? Come on in. Let's grow this. Let's hit the objectives. So I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think it's a good thing that you're upfront on that. And that's the type of person I know I'd want to buy from for sure.
Yeah. For clients, it tends to be nice because they don't have to, if you want a person with similar experience, you in especially in the US, you probably have to pay 150K a year. Plus,
At least.
that's not the only thing you pay as an employer. You have the additional costs like paying for benefits and retirement and stuff like that. And with me, you pay $6,500 a month max. And it's like an in between step that's nice for a lot of companies who aren't ready to invest in that exec yet. It's a nice in between stage where they can get a little bit of an exec that also does hands on execution and gets stuff done. And yeah, it's the nice transition stage for startups. It's like getting them from seed to Series A, and for other companies, it's yeah, just finding what works and then scaling it out. Maybe not even with me. Like my goal is usually to try to fire myself.
That's a good
I don't
goal to
know.
have. It sounds like you have
Yeah,
a lot of the key ingredients to success here. And it probably explains why you're already so busy in the first couple months of this.
yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I think the two challenges that I don't want to make it sound like I have everything figured out because I certainly don't. Like my two biggest challenges are still like finding clients is the one thing I'm always working on, and like delivering results for my clients because marketing keeps you humble. And one week things work, and the next week you're like, what the hell is happening? It's not working at all. So yeah, those are always two things that I'm working on.
That is the number one challenge for a solo is managing sales and incoming business and taking care of the clients you have. In fact, that's like the talk of the town. And
Yeah.
in the most recent interviews I've had, one with Carol Mahoney, who is the author of Buyer First. Carol's a sales coach and a known sales coach, and she's a solo as well and helps solos out.
Mm-hmm.
So she can either help train or come in and assist on the sales. And I think that's one of the greatest things because achieving that equilibrium between sales time and client time, like you
Yeah.
said, when one of your clients graduates and you are successful in firing yourself, you have to have that next client. And that
Yeah.
that is the trouble sometimes being a solo is managing that scale, managing the timing of when a client graduates with success and when that new client comes on board.
Yeah. And as there's that's not the only thing you do. You also have to keep your books and I don't know, do all kinds of other stuff. Oh, I need insurance. I didn't know I needed that. I should probably get that, I guess. And there's, oh, I need a contract. I guess I should talk to a lawyer because right now my contract is a template. That's
So
probably not so good.
So when you say, I need, I can relate with that. Like when I still have that in this business, it's always, oh, geez, I didn't think of that. Or where did this? I feel like it's.
Yeah.
They say there's no book to parenting. This
Yeah.
is really where there's no book, and there should be a book because
No.
I think a lot of us have the similar challenges.
Yeah.
Where are you finding the help on this? Or are you going alone looking it on? Because nobody pays attention to solos. You have to fill out that 1 to
Yeah.
10 box shamefully all the time. And it's just one, and no one's really going to call you back because
Yeah.
you're a solo starting up and they just know they're not going to make a lot of money off of you right now. So where are
Yeah.
you going to get that help?
Oh man, there's not one place, unfortunately, but I was looking for that place. I wish there would have been that place when I got started because I had a million questions because I didn't know anything. I didn't know, but the most important thing I think for me has been reaching out to other solos that I've seen on LinkedIn and just asking for 15 minutes. And there's been people have been so helpful and so generous with their time. And I just asked them questions. And a lot of questions were answered through that. And then there's the Chamber of Commerce here in Germany has good courses that you can take. Yeah, honestly, I really do I did everything I could in the beginning. Anything from YouTube videos about taxes to yeah, finding an accountant to asking my startup community on Slack that I'm a part of to reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, I had to cobble it together and it's been difficult, but I feel like helped me get off the ground. And there's still so many things I don't know. Like yesterday, I got an invoice from someone from a different country in the European Union, and that's like a tax situation that's new to me. And I'm like, now that's something I have to deal with that I didn't realize, and that this looks like it's a 2-hour project, and I still don't understand it. I don't have to tell you; these things happen all the time, but yeah, you never stop learning.
Yeah, I think that's one of the good things with what we're doing here with the podcast right now is I'm starting to see, wow, a lot of the solos we have on the podcast probably could help each other out really quickly by
Yeah,
posting an inquiry or comment or just being on a similar email thread. I hope that's one of the things you take advantage of as we get to know each other more and things like that. Just, hey, one quick question. Anyone know how to handle this thing I have with this European tax? And someone's going to be like,
yeah,
yeah, I deal with that all the time. And in 2 seconds, they can help you rather than that. The key to it is also providing help when you can too. And we
yeah,
all just get by together. That's it. A little help from my friends. I get by with a little help from my friends. That's what the solo life is about because no one else is going to throw you a life raft. That's the unfortunate reality. It's either
yeah.
swim on your own or swim together right now.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you need help, please reach out. I really want to pay it forward and help other people who are thinking about it or who have questions. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, that's kind, man. Like, it was great to meet you today. And I'm like so grateful you came on and just really cool to meet you for the first time and bring you on the podcast and just hear all the wisdom you have to share. And just, I really sincerely appreciate your candor and just like frankness and just being totally upfront about everything. And it sounds like you're helping a lot of people and are going to help a lot more.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciated this. This was a nice conversation. It's a
Yeah.
very conversational podcast. I like that.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Look forward to more. You going to be up for another one soon?
Sure. I want to learn from you. I feel like you've figured out some things from talking to a bunch of solos. So I feel like I need to ask you a bunch of questions, to be
Yeah, man.
honest.
We could do it anytime. Maybe we just do that next time and I'll do my best. I'm not afraid to show a little leg either. I'm okay with showing what I know and what I don't know to everyone out there. Because
Yeah.
sometimes when you show what you don't know, a lot of times other helpful people will come in and be like, yeah, I have an answer to that. So I
Yeah.
think
Do you have any type of content for solos, like where or a community that you talked about that you're building up that I can join or be part of?
yeah, you're already part of it. Right now it's an email chain. And we actually have a community. We built it with HubSpot. It's a community member platform that we're about to launch. So we're going to try
Nice.
to get everyone to go in there. Right now it's informal, bring everyone together, see how it goes. And
I feel like
we
I
can do
set
it
you up
that
for
way.
the pitch here. So
You did in a way, but you didn't even know it. You had no idea, which is amazing. So
perfect.
yeah, I guess, yeah, when there's a need, there's a solution. So that's what we're trying to do here. That's
Yeah,
the,
I'd love to join it.
man, thanks so much. It's
Thank you,
coming.
Joe.
All right. See ya.
Take care, man. Bye bye.